a brutal reimagining of the Dark Knight like you've never seen before. From savage takedowns to moral gray zones, we're diving deep into the violent first chapters of Absolute Batman. To start off, at the start of the story, we immediately get a quick glimpse of young Bruce Wayne in a flashback, and the first thing that seems to pique his interest is a sign for the Bat exhibit during a school field trip at the Gotham Zoo. A man that seems to be the guardian of the students, including Bruce, tells them to come along, and that there will be plenty of time to check out the bats later. Right before cutting to the present day, a man on a motorcycle rides into Gotham City, where he narrates on how it's been a very long time since he's been there, and quickly notices some differences compared to his last visit. The city is taller and brighter, yet something has changed within deep down that even he couldn't recognize anymore. The man finally makes a full stop in the alleyway, revealing himself to be Alfred Pennyworth, and he's there to do some very bad things. He visits a tea shop and meets with a vendor who provides him with his favorite tea before going next door to a safe house. As Alfred settles in, we get to see a picture of him and his daughter Julia during her graduation day. He tries to call and leave a voicemail for her, letting her know that he would like to see her, but even after doing that, he tells himself that she knows him too well for that, giving us a sign that he has a rough relationship with Julia and wasn't there to spend time with her, especially in his line of work. As he gets to work, Alfred calls his handler and wants to know what his assignment is and why he's back in Gotham after he was so close to getting to a target in Singapore. The contact lets him know that this is a more important assignment, as a very radical and dangerous group called the Party Animals has been causing a huge stir within Gotham. From how Alfred's handler describes these lunatics, I don't even know if dangerous is the right word. Maybe chaotic? Unhinged? Sinister sounds more like it, as it caused the murder rate in Gotham to skyrocket up by 700%. They even set a daycare on fire, letting us know that they don't even care if they slaughter innocent children. Alfred's assignment is strictly surveillance and to gather information on the Party Animals. Alfred's handler also pointed out that another quote-unquote player is in town, in which we all know is Batman just from looking at the image shown. After the call ended, Alfred went outside to witness a broken chain where his bike should have been, leaving him with the thought of how much he hates Gotham. In the daytime at Croc's gym, and y'all can already guess who owns it. Wrong answers only though. This is where we get our first look at Bruce Wayne, and boy, he's big as hell. I gotta see his diet and workout routine. He gives Bane from the Dark Knight trilogy a run for his money, or better yet, I think he is as big as the mountain from Game of Thrones. Bruce beats the punching bag ferociously, catching every eye around him. He remembers the day of the school field trip where it's revealed that the man leading the field trip is his father, Thomas Wayne, and he's a school teacher. They both talk about a movie that was playing later in the day until a sudden gunshot caught Thomas's attention, then it cuts right back to Bruce destroying the punching bag. Waylon Jones, who we all know as Killer Croc in the main DC universe, approaches him, saying he owes him a new punching bag. In this universe, however, Waylon is just a regular guy with a deep admiration for reptiles. Oswald Cobblepot helped him get an exotic pet license so he could own a snake and a crocodile. Now, this is another hook that really pulls me in deeper into the story. After Waylon brought up game night and Bruce rejected the invite, it's revealed that Batman hasn't been friends with part of his Rose Gallery, including Penguin, Killer Croc, Riddler, Two-Face, and Catwoman since childhood in this universe. They're not known by those names yet, but I can't wait to see how each of them eventually gets there. Part of me hopes that some or even all of them don't end up becoming villains. Maybe they could be this universe's version of the Bat family, because I already know I'm going to get attached to these takes on the characters. But at the same time, that opens the door for some incredible storytelling, especially with Scott Snyder behind it. It's a tough call, but if I had to choose two characters besides Catwoman, since that's a given to stay on the good side, it will be Riddler and Killer Croc. Riddler could serve in an Oracle-like role, and Killer Croc could be Bruce's ally, kind of like he is in the Batman Earth 1 books. That would be so cool. The scene shifts to a yacht where Falcone and Maroni are discussing the recent brutal activities of the Party Animals with the gang's leader, who is revealed to be Roman Sionis, known as Black Mask in the main DC universe. They threaten Roman, demanding that he and the Party Animals leave Gotham, but here's the thing, they have no idea who they're dealing with and are completely out of their league. Roman unveils what he calls death masks, grotesque trophies crafted from the faces of his victims, some of which belong to deceased members of the Falcone and Maroni crime families. Without hesitation, Roman turns the confrontation to a massacre, swiftly eliminating both Falcone and Maroni. This raises the stakes, showing us just how much more dangerous and strategic Roman is compared to the crime families who ruled Gotham for over a century. As the day fades into the evening, Bruce suits up as Batman, anticipating an attack on an emergency meeting at Town Hall, where Mayor Jim Gordon is set to address the growing fears of Gotham citizens. From a distant vantage point, Alfred watches silently as the Party Animals approach the entrance. Moments later, the gang crashes at the meeting, driven by bloodlust and ready to slaughter everyone inside. Panic spreads. Citizens scream, officers scramble until the chaos is interrupted. One by one, the attackers are yanked back to the front doors by a sweeping black cape. Officer Barbara Gordon cautiously makes her way to the entrance and and opens the door. Upside down looking back over his shoulder is Batman. He turns to her and says, "Whatever you hear, you do not open this door." If I was her, that's all I needed to hear. Batman rains hell on the party animals, brutally taking them out. I freaking love this version of Batman. He doesn't end lives, but boy does he thread the needle between life and death of criminals. If I had to differentiate his brutality to Flashpoint Batman's brutality, I say he's one hair away from becoming that brutal, and I love it. Alfred watches from a distance. He takes note of Batman's fighting style, admires how precise he is, and can see the message Batman sends to the rest of the party animals. This man literally uses his bat ears as knives, but manages to miss any arteries to avoid extreme external bleeding. A stocky party animal member who calls himself the Hand steps forward to challenge Batman, proposing of all things an axe fight. Unfazed, Batman silently pulls out his own weapon and acts with his iconic bat emblem as a head. The duel is over in an instant. With one swift, brutal swing, Batman severs the Hand's hand, funny enough. As the thug screams in agony, Batman looms over him, trolling him on which direction the hospital was. Is the hospital 3 blocks south of here, or is it east? I can't seem to remember all of a sudden, but I'd run if I were you.
Run, bitch! Run!
It's good to know the Dark Knight has a little sense of humor, making sure the Hand lives up to his name and pays the price for it. The aura Batman gives off scares the rest of the party animals away, and they fall right into his trap as he blows up the rest of the stairway to immobilize them. Alfred's handler chimed in, wondering what was happening, reporting that he or she couldn't make no sense of anything on the satellite images, giving Alfred the all clear to engage Batman. Alfred went up and pointed his rare and exotic shotgun at Batman's head. Batman responded with a side kick to Alfred's torso and took a shotgun before disappearing into the night. The next day, Alfred began his investigation and confirmed what he suspected. The young 24-year-old Bruce Wayne was Batman. Digging into Bruce's background, Alfred discovered a moment from his youth when Bruce won an engineering competition. His design was the mobile, collapsible bridge, an origami-like structure meant to deliver aid to disaster-stricken areas. The bridge's anatomy resembled a Batwing. Alongside a trophy, the prize was a trip to the Gotham Zoo, an outing that would mark the beginning of Bruce's path to becoming Batman. We then flash back to that fateful day. The memory picks up right after Thomas Wayne hears the first gunshot. He quickly gathers all the children, including Bruce, and rushes them into the bat house, locking the door behind him to keep the kids safe. Thomas sacrifices his own life in the process, and from that day forward, Bruce was filled with anger at the world. He spiraled into trouble until he eventually found the strength to pick himself back up. He went back to school and earned a football scholarship to the top university in the state. Once Bruce enrolled, it's safe to assume he faked an injury to preserve his body, shifting his focus entirely to academics. He immersed himself into applied mechanics, chemistry, criminal psychology, military theory, and sociocultural history. After returning to Gotham, Bruce studied every corner of the city, mastering the infrastructure, from the power grid and water system to sanitation and public policy. As another way of protecting his city, Bruce hopes to work to repair the damage he causes while operating as Batman. Alfred finally sees what Bruce has built, and he's genuinely impressed, but he also discovers something else. Bruce has a weakness. In this universe, it's Martha Wayne, still alive and still at the center of Bruce's emotional world. After shadowing Bruce around the city, Alfred finds his moment and prepares to take the shot, but as he looks through the scope, hesitation takes over. Despite everything, Bruce is still just a kid in his eyes, and Alfred can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Later that night, Alfred infiltrates Batman's base of operations, located at the top of a few buildings owned by several companies but never actually used, making it a hollow investment, but a perfect hiding place. Bruce, already suited up as Batman, is waiting for him, holding the same shotgun he had taken from Alfred earlier. Alfred assumes he won't pull the trigger, but Batman does. Alfred survives and quickly realizes the truth. Batman had modified the shotgun to be non-lethal. He also pieces together that Batman was the one who stole his bike at the beginning of the issue. Batman then reveals that he's been tracking Alfred ever since he entered Gotham, before vanishing once again into the night. In the epilogue of the issue, Alfred calls his handler, admitting that he couldn't take out Batman, but assures him or her that he'll get another shot the next time their paths cross. For now, he's still assigned to monitor and deal with the party animals. Just before the call ends, the contact mentions something chilling. The target Alfred has been tracking for 5 years, last seen in Singapore, has vanished somewhere in the Philippines. This individual once studied under Henry Ducard before ending his life, then trained with a League of Assassins only to wipe them out as well. He's gone by many names: Jack, Arthur, and the moment those names dropped, I knew it had to be the Joker. I love subtle Easter eggs like that, and apparently, this version of the Joker hates jokes. I can't wait to see just how dangerous he is compared to the Joker we all know. But that's the end of issue 1. Moving on to issue 2. The issue starts up with a flashback that takes place after the shooting in the Gotham Zoo. The young Bruce Wayne screams for his dad to open the door, but sadly, his dad has been shot and his body is laying on the opposite side of the door, blocking the way out. All of a sudden, Bruce Bruce notices a bat behind him and it starts to crawl on him. Next thing you knew, a horde of bats breaks the glass and covers his whole body. Then we come back to the present that takes place 2 weeks later after the first issue. Batman makes his move and fights a group of party animals at the Gotham Aquarium. The party animals has been escalating their mayhem in Gotham, forcing Batman to escalate his offense to them in response. Batman interfering with the party animals' activities forces Black Mask to step up, and this benefits Alfred as he gets more data out of it. The more data he collects, the sooner he leaves Gotham. Alfred took note and pinpointed Batman's movements after he's done fighting crime and returns to one of his many hideouts throughout Gotham. Turns out, if you put all the pinpoints together for all the locations of his hideouts, it forms into the shape of his bat symbol. I definitely agree with Alfred here. Bruce sure takes his commitment as Batman on a whole other level. When Bruce isn't operating as Batman, he keeps a strict routine, but he broke it once in the recent weeks to visit Joe Chill, the man who shot his father in prison. Unfortunately, the details of that conversation remain a mystery for now, but hopefully they'll be revealed later. Meanwhile, the party animals track down Batman's hideout, the same one Alfred discovered back in issue 1. But Batman was 10 steps ahead. The moment they arrived, a trap was triggered, and the building erupted in flames. As the smoke cleared, the blaze formed a burning bat on the face of the building, sending a clear message to everyone in Gotham. The next day, Jim Gordon, Barbara, and Commissioner Bullock watch the news as former Mayor Hill delivers a scathing response to recent events. He blames Gordon for Gotham's rising chaos, criticizing his failure to control crime, and announces his intention to run for mayor once again. Jim didn't want to hear any more of the news and asked for the TV to be turned off. A minute later, Martha Wayne arrived. After Barbara and Bullock stepped out, Martha and Jim take a moment to smoke and talk. It's revealed that Martha is serving as Jim's deputy mayor. During their conversation, Jim remarks how much she sounds like Thomas, which leads them to reflect on the past, specifically the day Thomas Wayne died. Jim recalls the moment vividly. He entered the bat house and found young Bruce, covered in bats and screaming at the top of his lungs. That image never left him. Jim asks how Bruce is doing now. Martha responds softly, saying that before the incident, Bruce was a joyful, open-hearted boy who told her everything, but now she barely knows him at all. The scene then cuts to Bruce visiting his old friends for the usual poker night. They're visibly surprised that he actually showed up, especially since one member of their group, Selena, is notably absent. As they settle in, Bruce places a party animal mask on the table. Waylon and Harvey immediately want it off, uncomfortable with his presence. But Edward, curious as always, is drawn to it. He picks it up and begins examining it closely. Knowing Bruce, this wasn't by accident. He likely brought the mask with the expectation that Edward's interest would lead to a deeper analysis, helping him uncover how the mask works and who's behind it. As the poker game continues, Oswald casually remarks that the party animals don't seem interested in claiming territory. They're just causing chaos for the sake of it. Bruce leans in and asks Harvey if he thinks the attacks could be a political move aimed at bringing down Jim Gordon as mayor. Harvey doubts it. He doesn't think it's about politics, at least not directly. If there is a political angle, he says it's tied to money. In his view, financial gain is the real driving force behind the attacks. He then mentions that former Mayor Hill, long known for his corruption, has recently been amassing a suspicious amount of capital, which prompts Batman to investigate Hill's office later that night. After infiltrating Hill's desktop, he finds a file that's named Arc M. All of a sudden, Batman is interrupted when Black Mask appears on a massive screen before him, grinning, pleased to finally meet the Dark Knight. He tells Batman he wants to make a deal, but only if he survives what's coming next. Black Mask reveals that he tipped off the GCPD and has party animal members surrounding the building. Moments later, a rocket blasts through the floor Batman is on, forcing him to make a narrow escape down the elevator shaft. At the bottom, he comes face to face with Alfred once again. This time, Alfred isn't here to fight. He just wants to talk, believing that they can help each other. Batman gives him 30 seconds to explain. Alfred thanks him for the chance, but first insists they need to escape the heat swarming in. To Alfred's surprise, Batman reveals they're already standing in the Batmobile, an enormous, heavily modified dumper truck. I gotta say, even in this more grounded version of Batman, it's wild to think how Bruce found the time to build all this gear, set up all those traps, and convert a big-ass construction truck into a Batmobile while waging his war on crime. He's only 24 years old in this universe, and it's seriously impressive. Still, he has a lot to learn, and that's where I think Alfred steps in, helping him grow in the areas where he's still naive in. The issue closes with a flashback, a young Selina Kyle quietly paying a visit to a young Bruce Wayne, hinting at a history deeper than we might have expected. Going into issue 3, we pick up right where the last issue left off, with a flashback of a young Selina Kyle visiting a young Bruce Wayne. Bruce follows her as they dash across Gotham's rooftops. Selina, ever mysterious, doesn't say where they're going. When they come to a tightrope stretched between two buildings, Selina crosses it with ease. Bruce hesitates, unsure, but decides to follow her anyway. Step by step, he makes it across, but just before reaching the other side, he loses his balance. Selina catches him just in time, pulling him up onto the rooftop so they can continue. The flashback ends and we return to the present. Batman and Alfred races through the city in the Batmobile, trying to outrun both the party animals and the GCPD. As the pursuit intensifies, Alfred starts speaking about the rumors he's heard surrounding Black Mask. According to intelligence, he's the leader of a covert paramilitary organization that serves some of the most powerful figures figures on Earth, working behind the scenes to destabilize governments. Alfred suspects that Roman Sionis is a Black Mask. With the party animals gaining ground, Alfred suggests finding a faster vehicle. Batman responds by transforming the Batmobile into a faster mode, accelerating through the streets. As they drive, Alfred continues, saying that if Roman is Black Mask, he's far too dangerous and deeply connected for Batman to bring down alone. However, the fact that he's offering Batman a deal means he's willing to compromise. Alfred advises diplomacy, to which Batman doesn't agree with at first until he explains more in detail. If Batman agrees to the deal, it gives him the opportunity to expand his resources and extend his reach. In return, Black Mask will reduce the chaos in Gotham, potentially saving lives. Batman then asks Alfred what he gets out of this, and whether Black Mask simply walks free. Alfred responds plainly, if Batman agrees to the deal, he gets to leave Gotham behind, and Black Mask will be taken down using the intel Alfred has been quietly gathering, along with the evidence gathered through the deal's transactions. After Batman takes out the last of the party animals chasing them, the GCPD finally catches up and surrounds the Batmobile. Alfred, tense, wonders if Batman has a plan to get them out of this. Without missing a beat, Batman tells him to pull the lever next to his seat. Alfred follows the instruction and is instantly ejected from the Batmobile to safety. Meanwhile, Batman speeds off, launching the vehicle straight into the river, disappearing beneath the water and evading capture once again. Cutting back to the flashback with young Bruce and Selina, Bruce quietly asks how things are going at her new foster home. Selina shrugs and replies that she ran away. It was the 4th foster home she's fled from in the past year. She adds that the last one was especially bad, though she doesn't go into detail. Bruce, concerned, offers to let her live with him, assuring her that Martha wouldn't mind. She loves Selina and will welcome her in a heartbeat, but Selina turns him down. You can see it in her expression that there's pain behind her eyes, the kind born from trauma. She's been through too much in the system to believe in the promise of safety, even from people who genuinely care about her. For most orphans, Bruce's offer will be a dream come true, an escape, a home, a second chance. But for Selina, the fear rooted in her past is stronger than the hope in front of her. That fear keeps her from saying yes. Selina quickly changes the subject and leads Bruce to a nearby movie theater, where Zorro's playing. As they sneak inside, the flashback fades, cutting back to the present, where Bruce is now with Edward to find out more about the party animal mask. Edward recently built an AI robot named Al and invited Bruce to test it by asking questions. Bruce went straight to the point. He asked how the party animal mask works. Al responded that the mask has 3 primary functions. The first function blurs the wearer's identity, making it untraceable by global or local surveillance and identification systems. The second function generates a digital wallet linked to a highly secure private cryptocurrency network known as the Black Coin. The final function assigns monetary values to specific types of crimes. If the wearer commits those crimes, they're rewarded. The more high risk the act, the greater the payout, allowing individuals to accumulate wealth quickly through violence and chaos. Bruce immediately questioned if there was any way to shut the network down, but Al stated that the infrastructure was far too vast and decentralized to dismantle. Bruce didn't accept that answer. Edward, concerned for his friend, urged him to destroy the mask and move on. He values their friendship and doesn't want Bruce to get hurt chasing ghosts. It's a reasonable request. Anyone else might have listened, but this is Bruce Wayne we're talking about. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from Harvey. He's been digging into the Arkham fund and uncovered something alarming. Most of the money is being funneled through a company called JK Holdings, a corporation with diverse subsidiaries spread across the globe. One of their core operations involves constructing private prisons, but not ordinary ones. These are black sites, facilities operating outside the law. Even more concerning, JK Holdings has major investments from biotech, pharmaceutical, and genomics firms, raising massive red flags. This definitely feels like foreshadowing for what's to come. I've got a strong feeling these black sites are going to be a breeding ground for some of Batman's future rogues gallery. Maybe Clayface, Scarecrow, or even Poison Ivy will have origins tied to these places. Who knows, but low-key that's what makes it exciting, speculating which villains might rise from this twisted system. The scene then shifts to Bullock meeting with former Mayor Hill, who introduces him to Black Mask. Bullock's first question to Roman is blunt: why the mask? Roman simply replies that in his line of work, he has a lot of enemies. He then describes himself ironically as a pacifist. In his own twisted way, he claims to bring peace to troubled regions, even if those methods are far from traditional. As the conversation continues, Roman makes a calculated offer. He wants to help Bullock restore order to Gotham. With the party animals multiplying and Batman operating unchecked in the shadows, the city is descending into chaos. Roman insists he's prepared to provide the GCPD with the resources they need to help stabilize Gotham before the city collapses entirely. The panel ends with Roman and Bullock seemingly ready to negotiate, both men standing on the edge of a deal that could change everything. Cutting back to Bruce, Alfred's narration kicks in. He observes how Bruce is starting to piece everything together, realizing the full scope of what he's truly up against. Alfred reveals a hidden truth. There's been more than one arc. Arc A was the first, based in Santa Prisca, the same island Bane hails from. Arc B is located in Russia, and Arc C operates in China. But Arc M, that's here in Gotham, and it's the largest arc yet. As the pieces fall into place, doubt begins to creep into Bruce's mind. He quietly begins to assess the cost of taking on something this massive. If he were to mainline Batman with bottom bottomless wealth, cutting-edge tech, a global network, and near limitless resources, this will be a different fight, but this Bruce Wayne is middle class. We return once again to the past, picking up where we left off. Bruce and Selina sitting together in the theater. Bruce starts to stand, ready to leave, but Selina gently grabs his hand, silently asking him to stay. A moment later, the rest of their friend group, Waylon, Edward, Harvey, and Oswald, emerge from their hiding spots, all encouraging Bruce to stay and watch the movie with them. Bruce hesitates, but then smiles. Surrounded by his friends, he takes a seat. Together, they enjoy the film, and from a distance, Martha watches quietly, a soft smile on her face as she sees the kids laugh, bond, and just be kids. And for that moment, Bruce feels something rare: peace, knowing he's not alone. Back in the present, the pressure begins to mount, and it starts to overwhelm Bruce. His fear and uncertainty becomes clear when he visits Martha. She informs him that she's officially taken on the role of deputy mayor under Jim Gordon. Concerned, Bruce urges her to lay low, warning that she could become a major target just like Jim, but Martha refuses. She tells Bruce she won't hide. She believes in Jim's vision, and more importantly, she refuses to give up on Gotham, even if Bruce disagrees. To her, stepping back now will mean letting fear win, and that's not a choice she's willing to make. She then kisses Bruce on the forehead and leaves. Mayor Hill makes a bold political move to aid his re-election campaign. In a televised speech, he publicly declares that Jim Gordon has failed Gotham. He claims the GCPD is officially endorsing him and announces a controversial decision. For the first time in years, the memorial light honoring the anniversary of the Gotham Zoo shooting will not be turned on. It's a calculated blow, both symbolic and strategic. Backed into a corner after the announcement, Bruce decides to contact Black Mask. Though Roman can't see him, he speaks with full confidence. He offers Batman a staggering $200 million if he agrees to the deal. Roman paints a vivid picture of what that money could buy: cutting-edge tech, new vehicles, upgraded weapons, and more. He tempts Bruce with the very tools that could turn him into a stronger, more efficient Batman. But before Roman could continue, Batman cuts him off. Enough. Then, without hesitation, admits he's taking the deal. The issue ends, leaving us with a major cliffhanger. In issue 4, we're taken into the courtroom. The judge allows Bruce to speak first before Joe Chill is given his chance. Bruce, holding back his pain, sheds a single tear, finally ready to confront the man who stole everything from him. But just as he begins to speak, the flashback scene cuts away. This issue dives deeper into the emotional foundation of Absolute Batman, revealing the layered personal journey behind the symbol, and the boy who became the myth. The story jumps between key moments in Bruce's life, tracing the path that led to the version of Batman we see now. So I'll do my best to help you all follow along as it weaves through time. Elsewhere, a group of thugs prepares to throw innocent people off a rooftop. One of them grabs a woman and hurls her over the ledge, only for her to be flung back onto the rooftop moments later. Confused and startled, the thugs turn to see a younger, inexperienced Batman jumping in on them. I love that this early version of his suit takes clear inspiration from his debut in Detective Comics issue 27, but with unique upgrades. This Batman wears red lenses, has clawed gloves, and even sports sharp bat fangs to deliver a paralytic agent to temporarily disable those he bites. It's rough, primal, and raw. He brutally takes down the entire group of thugs, leaving only one conscious. As Batman pulls the gun on the last thug, the scene suddenly cuts back to a flashback, back to a younger Bruce Wayne working on the bridge for the engineering competition. Thomas Wayne enters the room, curious to see what his son has built. Bruce proudly explains that the bridge is collapsible, lightweight, and can support up to 30 pounds, an innovative design meant to help people in disaster zones. But when Thomas notices the bat-like structure of the model, Bruce explains that he chose the design because bats are intimidating. That gives Thomas pause. He gently questions Bruce's reasoning, asking, is intimidation really the best strategy for a place in need? The question lingers. Bruce doesn't have an answer right away, but it clearly gets to him. That moment plants the seed of doubt, forcing young Bruce to rethink what he's building. In the present, Batman hesitates just long enough for reinforcements to arrive, forcing him to retreat into the shadows. But something about that encounter doesn't sit right with Bruce. The entire operation felt off, too theatrical, too hollow. It lacked something vital, even for the dark symbol he was trying to become. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. Realizing this misstep, Bruce takes drastic action. He burns the suit along with all the gear he used that night and returns to the drawing board. In his mind, Batman can be better. He has to be better. Meanwhile, Bruce shifts his focus. While rethinking the symbol he was trying to build, he begins investigating a new lead, tracking weapon shipments entering Gotham. His investigation leads him straight to two familiar names, Falcone and Maroni. They're the ones running the operation behind the scenes. Batman makes his move, intercepting one of the weapon shipments and swiftly taking down the thugs guarding it. Silent, precise, and controlled. This time, there's no unnecessary flair, just results. Cutting back to the past, young Bruce calls Thomas into the room to show him the second version of his bridge project. This new model is sturdier, more refined, and still carries the same bat-inspired structure, but with subtle, purposeful changes. Thomas studies it carefully, clearly impressed. Bruce asks, do you think it's good enough to win? Thomas smiles and replies, I don't know, but if you feel like it's the best you could do, then that's what matters, because it shows what's special about a bat at its core. Bruce pauses thoughtfully, then asks, how does someone really know what anything is at its core? Thomas thinks for a moment, then answers gently, you don't, not right away. It's trial and error. He explains that he thought he had figured it out after his own father died, believing he was meant to become a heart surgeon. If he could just save one life, maybe one child wouldn't have to go through the pain he did. The sentiment mirrors something Bruce himself will one day feel, the vow to ensure no one else suffers the way he did. But then Thomas says everything changed when Martha became pregnant with Bruce. Suddenly, he didn't want to be in the operating room anymore. He became a teacher instead, and that's where he found his answer. That quote-unquote core he was looking for. Helping kids, guiding them, preparing them for the world they were growing up in. That's what felt right. After Thomas leaves the room, Bruce returns to his project and tests the weight capacity of his new bridge model. It collapses, but instead of being discouraged, Bruce stares at the broken pieces, motivated. He pushes himself harder, determined to build something stronger, something even better. Another flashback begins, but this time it brings us full circle, right back to the courtroom. Bruce stands before the judge, his voice steady yet heavy with tons of emotion. He recalls the zoo trip after winning the engineering competition, how truly happy he was, surrounded by friends, proud of his work, and most of all, seeing his father smile with genuine pride. For Bruce, that moment was perfect, but then Joe Chill took it all away. Bruce turns to him, his voice even colder than Tywin Lannister. He wants Joe to know that he didn't just take Thomas Wayne's life, he took Bruce's happiness, his peace, everything, and for that Bruce says he'll hate him forever. It's a powerful moment, one that adds yet another emotional layer to Bruce's journey into becoming Batman. We're then brought into the final flashback where Bruce is presenting his final model to Thomas. This time, his approach has changed. Instead of focusing solely on the bridge itself, Bruce thinks about people first. His new model includes all the core features from the earlier versions, but with one major addition. It can actually fly, designed to be dropped from a plane. The bridge can parachute into disaster zones, ready to be deployed and adjusted on the ground depending on the situation, whether for defense, offense, or emergency response. Thomas is stunned, not just by the design, but by the shift in Bruce's thinking. It's no longer about intimidation, it's about service. That's when Bruce first begins to understand what it truly means to build something that matters. The dialogue from the flashback continues after we return to the present. Now in the final version of his batsuit, Bruce perches on the rooftop, silently watching Gotham's rich and powerful below as they have a good time, while people in the low middle class and below are getting scraps. As Batman leaps into the night, young Bruce's voice echoes in narration, basically saying that a bat is the only mammal on Earth. That shows us that we can overcome whatever's holding us down. If it can surpass its limits and adapt, so can we. The final panel of the issue cuts to Bruce standing face to face with Joe Chill in prison. We don't hear the conversation. All we can see for now is the tension in the room. That alone got me wondering, what are they going to talk about? Maybe Joe wants to apologize or explain why he was at the zoo that day, but I feel like there's something deeper. What if Thomas Wayne was the real target all along? Was Joe paid to shoot him? It would add another layer of corruption to Gotham's elite. According to Jim Gordon, Thomas was one of the few brave people in the city, someone willing to stand up against those too powerful to name. Maybe that's what cost him his own life. It's just speculation, but if they go down that route, it would add a whole new level of emotional weight to this version of Batman's origin, and I'm here for it. And that's how the issue ends. Going into issue 5, we start right with a flashback. A young Bruce getting his shots from Leslie Tompkins after Jim Gordon found him covered in bats during the Gotham Zoo incident. Martha gently thanks Leslie, who smiles at Bruce and says, "That should be the end of you and bats." Funny enough, she couldn't have been more wrong. Back in the present, Batman rides through Gotham streets on his motorcycle. Members of the party animals watch him from the shadows. They don't act, not since he accepted Black Mask's deal, but Batman dares him to. His presence is loud, intentional, and meant to provoke. He finally reaches the meeting spot where he's set to confront Black Mask. Meanwhile, Martha is helping Jim with his mayoral campaign. She notices how discouraged he looks as he stares at the TV, watching former Mayor Hill and Harvey Bullock now standing side by side in public support. Sensing his doubt, Martha reminds him of when they first met, pointing out how people can surprise you, sometimes in the best ways. Jim's still burdened amidst he still feels guilty, especially about the memorial light not being lit this year on the anniversary of the Gotham Zoo shooting. What haunts him even more is the memory of what he told Bruce at Thomas Wayne's funeral, a moment that continues to weigh heavily on his conscience, leading into another flashback. At the funeral, a younger Jim Gordon approaches Bruce, wanting to say something meaningful, something honest. He told Bruce that Thomas Wayne was one of the bravest men he ever knew, and that when he looked at Bruce, he saw the same kind of bravery. Jim also tried to comfort him with news that the Gotham Zoo will be torn down. He won't have to see it again, will not have to face the reminder of that day. Back in the present, Batman stands silently on the rooftop, waiting. Alfred watches from a distant vantage point, monitoring the scene. Around them, members of the party animals have taken sniper positions across nearby rooftops, coiled and ready as the meeting begins. Black Mask finally arrives, telling Batman that the $200 million has already been transferred to his account earlier that morning. But to his surprise, Batman tells him that he already spent it. Roman narrows his eyes on what? What comes next is a powerful connection across time, and to be honest, I like this correlation. So going back to the flashback at Thomas Wayne's funeral, the young Bruce runs up to Jim Gordon. He says he doesn't want the zoo to be torn down. "I want something there," he says, "that makes everyone look." Back in the present, Batman presses a button. High above Gotham, a massive bat signal lights up the night sky. Its structure built entirely from the funds Black Mask gave him. It's not just a symbol, it's a message that the deal is off. Roman's smirk vanishes as he realizes he's been played. With a subtle gesture, he signals the party animals to attack, but Batman stands unfazed. I don't need cars, or planes, or computers, he says. I don't need anything you have. He steps forward, eyes glowing beneath the cowl ready to fight. All I need is Batman. Batman brutally takes down the surrounding party animals with precision and ferocity. It's fast, efficient, and ruthless. But one moment stands out, and you guys remember the hand from the first issue? That same guy who tried to challenge Batman with the axe and lost his actual hand? Yeah, he's back and clearly out for payback. Unfortunately for him, he takes another massive L. Just as the hand charges in and leaps onto his back, Batman activates a set of retractable spikes along his back, impaling the hand, leaving him stuck and completely immobilized. The hand screams in agony and begs someone, or anyone for that matter, to get him off Batman's back. Okay, so you take an L for the first time, then you come from payback and you take a second L. You might as well give up after that. Batman is already deep into taking out the rest of the party animals with brutal precision. As the last few thugs stumble back, Batman locks eyes on Black Mask and finally calls him out. All the crime the party animals committed, the arson, the robberies, the murders, it was manufactured by you, so you and your boss could profit. You don't care how many people die. Black Mask, proving Batman's point without hesitation, simply shrugs in response, nope. Fortunately though, you do. Fire. On command, the party animals launch reinforced nets at Batman, entangling him in layers of high tensile wire. Trapped and struggling to move, Batman watches as Black Mask approaches, calm and smug. You had it all right there, Black Mask sneers, stepping closer, but what do you have now? With a vicious snap, he grabs and breaks Batman's arm. Batman winces but grits his teeth. I have just what I wanted, he growls. Everything you confessed to is already at every news station in Gotham. Roman crouches down and is genuinely surprised, not by being exposed, but by Batman's mindset. You actually think you achieved something here, don't you? He says, almost laughing. You actually believe you're the hero of the story? Bruh, let me tell you something. You're not even the main character. As they burn Batman with a flamethrower, Black Mask lets it be known the only hero of the story, Batman, is money. Without another word, Batman is hurled off the rooftop. He crashes down onto the roof of a car below with a brutal thud. Bloodied, broken, and barely conscious, he stumbles to his feet, only to find a GCPD swarming in. Barbara, weapon drawn, confronts him. Her finger hovers over the trigger. She threatens to shoot, but in that moment, she hesitates. Something in Batman's eyes stop her, and personally, I think it's because she's her father's daughter. Deep down, she knows that Black Mask has to be stopped, and that this is all wrong. So she just lets Batman go. Meanwhile, Black Mask escalates his plan. He appears on screens across the city, broadcasting a message designed to ignite Gotham's buried rage. Why obey a system that's beyond broken and does nothing for you? He asks the people. Why stay loyal to a city that does nothing for you, while the rich grow richer and you struggle to survive? His voice echoes through the streets, homes, phones. He's not just targeting Batman anymore. He's targeting Gotham's soul. Elsewhere, Alfred speeds through the city and spots party animals unloading crates of weapons from a truck. The escalation has begun. He races back to Bruce's hideout. There he finds Bruce barely managing to patch himself up. Sweat drenched and in agony, Bruce looks up, grating his teeth. Stop glaring and just set my arm, he mutters to Alfred. Instead of helping Bruce, Alfred goes in on him, telling him that he'll never help him again. This was goodbye, and the next thing Black Mask does to Gotham is on Bruce's head before leaving. At the same time, across the city, Martha and Jim investigate one of the weapon crates abandoned by the party animals. With tension in the air, Jim pries it open, only to find it filled with party animal masks and military-grade firearms. Before they can even process what they're seeing, Black Mask appears once again, addressing the people of Gotham, not with threats, but with an invitation to become a party animal in order to get rich fast. Across the city, the message spreads like wildfire. Black Mask isn't just unleashing criminals anymore. He's giving everyone a reason to become one, ending it off issue 5. So going on to issue 6, Wayland is watching the news as more and more people in Gotham join the chaos and become party animals. He hears a loud noise behind him and expects to fight, but it turns out to be Bruce. Wayland helps him as he quickly notices how wounded he is, but he also notices Bruce's suit. Bruce admits to Wayland that he's Batman and he needs his help. We cut to what appears to be another flashback, and y'all should expect to be flashbacks all over the place at this point. So the younger version of Bruce is having a sleepover with the rest of his friends at his place. Laughter fills the room and Martha watches over them with a warm smile, but the moment quickly turns. A man enters the room with a gun, his face obscured, but everything about him screams Joe Chill. Without warning, he raises the weapon and shoots Martha. Bruce screams and then he wakes up, and I can relate to that. Well, not to that extent as Bruce, but have you ever had those dreams like where you got bitten by a snake, or like you're just falling off a building all of a sudden, and then when you hit the ground, like your body just spazzes and then you wake up in reality? Yeah, I hate those dreams. Y'all probably had those dreams too. So Bruce gasps for breath, drenched in sweat. It was just a nightmare, he finds out, and he's still shaking about it. He heads downstairs searching for comfort, and he finds Martha in the living room, quietly looking through the photo albums. She looks up, instantly seeing the pain in his eyes. Without saying a word, she opens her arms. Bruce lays his head on her lap, and she understood that he had another nightmare. For a moment, just a moment, he feels safe again. Anyways, back in the present, Martha takes a look into one of the party animals' masks and notices that there's a huge cash reward for Tim Gordon's head. Jim urges her to get out of there, but Martha insists on staying there since she's his deputy mayor. We then get a quick panel of Alfred's daughter on the phone with a friend when an urgent alert pops up on her phone, talking about a citywide warning for all Gotham residents to stay home. The situation has gotten way out of control, and the next panel shows exactly how bad it's gotten. A train station overrun by party animals, chaos erupting everywhere, and people are just taking advantage of all the money they can get from just doing various crimes. Then we cut to Oswald, furious, shouting at Bruce for not telling him or the rest of their friend group that he was Batman sooner. And honestly, I hate the response Bruce gives. That old overused line, "I was trying to protect you," is cringy as hell, and this is the same excuse we've all heard way too many times. Seriously, if you watch superhero shows like Smallville or read enough superhero comics, you know exactly what I mean. Just, it's cringy as hell. Every time I hear that, I just get a cringe feeling. It's a total cop-out at this point. Ozzy lays out the rest of the group's reactions. Whalen wants to punch Bruce in the face, which is understandable. Harvey wants to arrest him, also fair. Edward says he figured it out a while ago, which is completely accurate for his character. And Selena, yeah, she'll probably just think it's hot. Ozzy is just beyond furious about it. When they reach Black Mask's location, Batman prepares to jump out of the plane. Ozzy says he doesn't have enough fuel to pick him up afterwards, but Batman didn't need to be picked up. All he needed was a way to get to where Black Mask is. Batman jumps out and lands on a DJ on the boat. He fights the party animals on there and puts life jackets on them before throwing them overboard. Oh, and there's this moment one of the party animals, clearly just a kid, tries to charge at Batman with a knife. Batman casually picks the kid up, and I love this moment so much. This makes me like this version of Batman even more. So after he puts a life jacket on the kid yells out that he can't do this to a kid, and Batman just glares at him and straight up kicks the kid off the boat like a soccer ball. And then we go into yet another flashback where young Bruce asks what Martha is doing. Martha gently smiles and explains that she's looking through old memories, photos of her and Thomas when they were younger, a picture of Bruce learning to walk, and one in particular stands out. It's a group photo of Bruce and his entire friend group, taken just before the Gotham Zoo shooting. Martha admits that is her favorite photo, and then we cut to the present, chaos. See, I told you it's all over the place. So Martha and Jim are doing everything they can to keep panicked civilians away from the weapon crates left behind by the party animals, but the people don't listen. The fear and desperation have reached a boiling point. It's every man and woman for themselves. Martha steps forward trying to appeal to them. "This is all damn game to Black Mask," she pleads. "The only way we win is by not playing." But sadly, her words don't reach everyone. Or I should not even say sadly, it's not a surprise to me, especially those already wearing party animal masks. They look at Martha and Jim with hungry eyes, not as leaders or people trying to help, but as targets. Each of them carries $1 million bounty, and the group starts closing in. Meanwhile, Alfred's on a private jet with Julia. The air between them is tense, and Julia breaks the silence, telling him about what she did when she was a child, how she kept the suitcase packed, ready for the day he might come back and take her with him, but he never did. Now, she says there's no place she'd rather be less than on a plane with him nowadays, and her voice doesn't shake, but her pain is sharp. She makes it clear if this plane takes off, she's done. "I don't have a father anymore," she says. The pilot's voice crackles from the front of the jet. "Sir, do we have any clearance?" And Alfred pauses, then responds coldly, "Wheels up. Get us out of this damn city once and for all." Finally, cutting back to Batman, he faces off against Black Mask one final time. The rage is personal now. Batman destroys Roman in a brutal, relentless beatdown. Black Mask spits blood and tries to get under his skin. "You still don't get it, do you? You think you can stop them?" Roman snarls. "You think you can stop anything that's coming?" Batman gives 0 F's at this point, like, psh, I don't care. He grabs a nearby bowling ball and smashes it into Roman's face, again and again. "Keep talking," he growls. "Tell me again how I don't matter. I love it." As the brutal brawl unfolds, Martha's voice begins to echo from the earlier flashback, offering quiet contrast to the violence. She tells Bruce why the photo of him and his friend group is her favorite, even though it was taken on the day of the tragedy. Bruce looks at her, confused. I don't understand. Martha answers and explains that when things get tough, being hopeful isn't easy, but that's what she sees when she looks at the photos. No matter how hard things got, Thomas stayed hopeful, but he was at his most hopeful about Bruce. As Martha's words echo, Batman ends the fight in the most savage way yet. He points at both of his bat ears and stabs him straight into Black Mask's eyes. When I first read this, I had to stop and say, yo, did absolute Batman really just take a life for the first time? It actually looked like it. Those long ass razor sharp bat ears went right through Roman's eye sockets. In real life, yeah, he's dead, no question, but of course comic logic kicks in and somehow Black Mask survives. Still, the brutality of that moment, freaking unmatched and beautiful. Inside the ship, Batman storms into the server room, the heart of the party animals operation in Gotham. Without wasting a second, he plants explosives, set to destroy everything and put an end to the citywide chaos. His timing could have been better. Moments later, the server room and the entire boat exploded in a fiery blast, cutting off the source that had been fueling Gotham's downfall. Elsewhere, Martha and Jim are saved just in time, rescued before the party animals can cash in on the $1 million bounty placed on their heads. But Batman wasn't as lucky. We see him underwater, unconscious, slowly sinking into the depths. His cape billowing, body limp, it looks like it might be the end, until the Batmobile rises from beneath him. Alfred is behind the wheel. Somehow he came back. He pulls Bruce into the vehicle and and starts driving. If I'm sticking around, so are you, as he glances at Bruce. Alfred gets the med kit ready to patch him up. And you would think the issue ends there, right? Nope. We get another glimpse into the Joker, and I don't know what he's got going on there. It looks like human body parts or some sick stuff going on, but he's well aware on what happened in Gotham. And what he says gets me so hyped as he retaliates by saying, "It's time. Get Bane," officially ending the first story arc of Absolute Batman. I gotta say, I love how this first arc builds up Absolute Batman. Yes, he's more grounded, but besides that, I really love that Bruce is childhood friends with some of the most well-known villains in the rogues gallery. Plus, Martha is still alive, and they all know each other, adding to the stakes and emotional toll for when all of them, or hopefully some of them, become villains. Since they know Bruce is Batman, maybe they can be a major help to him. But if they become villains, it'll be messed up but great storytelling if they use Martha against them, since she is another huge weakness Bruce has. Like Alfred in the main DC universe, she is one of the main anchors for Bruce's morality and humility. As far as Alfred, he's gonna have to be the mentor for Bruce as he prepares for bigger threats like the ones Black Max mentioned. Joker is definitely at the top of the food chain as far as threats. I do wonder who is Alfred's handler though. It would be crazy if it was Talia al Ghul, and that could be a good link to another comic that I'll be making a recap on. Can't say any spoilers for those that's not up to date with it, but for Bruce, I do like how he's a bit more brutal than the Batman in the main DC universe, making him a bit more badass. But besides all that, if you were entertained, thought it was educational, like what I said, or all of the above, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, and turn on post notifications, especially if you're a new viewer. If you want to support the channel even more, our links will be down in the description box below, and I'll talk to you guys and girls later. Peace.